everyone and welcome to Through the Rabbit Hole. So I'm your host Storm and my co-host is Scottish Lesbians. This video is the final part of our talk on the ideology. If you haven't seen the first 3 videos, then please go back and watch them videos, as this will be a conclusion video. Now, we are very interested in your views, your stories, your opinions. So if you would please comment on this video, share your concerns, your thoughts. Do you agree with what we're saying? Don't you agree with what we're saying? Let us know why you don't agree. If you have got a story that you would like to share with us, then please head over to our community tab and leave your story there. We believe that your voice matters and we will try our hardest to make your voice known. We will answer every single comment that you leave and we will also respond to the story that you leave. If you haven't already, then please like, share and subscribe to the channel, as we do have new topics coming very soon. We plan to get videos out every single Monday, so please do not miss out and press the notification bell so you do get the notification that a new video is out for you guys to see. So I am going to jump straight in with the final video.
I'll never have my breast back. A reconstruction will do nothing for me, and it might make things worse actually, because I've had some complications pop up this year with the grafts. I have to cover them up with bandages, or else they'll I don't know what's going on with them. I tried to consult my surgeon about it, and he didn't really investigate. He gave me advice that made the complications worse even, and actually temporarily gave me an infection. But I have to bandage up every day so that it doesn't leak all over my clothing or bedding. And Jesus. From the hormones and blockers, I've been experiencing some joint pains, mainly in my arms, my legs, and my back. And yep. I still have issues with my urinary tract. I have to use the restroom pretty frequently, and I didn't even know that this was possible. This is like a pretty huge quality of life issue that I'm experiencing, and I'm just not really getting any help for it. And on top of that, I do hate to speak about it, but I'm experiencing sexual dysfunction at the age of 18. That's something that women usually go through when they're in their 40s to 50s.
Right.
How was I supposed to know?
So I thought I'll finish off the videos with a detransition story about Chloe Cole. So I'm not sure who was first, but does anyone want to start?
My heart just goes out to that poor girl. I actually recognize her. She was one of the youngest transitioners, I believe, that went on record, something about that. And detransitioners aren't getting enough attention. In fact, they're being labeled as the enemy within the far left ideology. But this is her experience is the reason why the diagnoses are so important. If I grew up, I was very much a tomboy, and in today's day and age, they would have given me hormone blockers and say that I was a boy trapped in a woman's body, but that's not what I grew up to be. I mean, I can still be kind of a tomboy, but when it comes down to it, I'm a very girly girl. However, the doctors that actually go along with this are so disgusting, because they have now created a lifetime patient by manipulating a perfectly healthy body with hormone blockers and things to that nature to go ahead and agree with something that needed to be dealt with a counselor. And I find it disgusting that doctors will just sign off on this and know that they're actually hurting that person and going against their Hippocratic oath. It's absolutely vile and it's reprehensible.
So for me, there's a point in that video that broke my heart because of my disabilities. I've had the same questions. Like, because of my spinal problems, I'm a 38-year-old person who needs a walker. I'm not supposed to need a walker till I'm like 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I'm 38 and I can barely walk up the road on my own. So to hear that from an 18-year-old, that breaks my heart. And it's from something that, we've spoken about on these panels before, and that is the medical negligence. And I'm sorry, but medical science not being up to scratch at the time these things are happening, that is no longer an acceptable excuse. That was the excuse that left a lot of autistic women undiagnosed until their adulthood. That is the reason why people with mental health conditions have been misdiagnosed and over or under medicated. That is why people who have had, rare forms of cancer have gone undiagnosed as maybe having IBS instead of a cancer diagnosis. So I'm sorry, medical knowledge not being at the right thing should mean that we are doing more to protect patients, not less. We should not be forcing parents to transition children when the science clearly at this stage is not there for children to be medically transitioned. I mean, I would never say a child should ever be medically transitioned, but even to the point of, the gender reassignment surgeries that we have today still leave massive scarring. For trans women, it leaves lifelong issues with the downstairs area because, they're not exactly creating a woman's bits, they're creating an open wound, which leads to more issues, more complications, and what have you. So why the absolute fuck are we doing this to people? I mean, before we had the trans community, we had it for women who were losing their mobility, losing their lives to medical negligence. And now they're going for the kids. And it breaks my heart because that question that she asked, I ask it every day.
Ultimately, as I said earlier in our discussions, detransitioners need more voices. They have been silent. And it's not a coincidence that the vast majority of detransitioners tend to be young women. They tend to be, like I said, autistic women or women on some form of ADD/ADHD spectrum, autism. And I don't think Chloe Cole was. I think I've done some research into her, but I have watched that entire interview that she's doing with Mr. Peterson. It is phenomenal, and I suggest everyone go and watch it because there was a guy on Tim Pool, and not everyone likes Tim Pool, but he looked at Tim Pool and says, "You're really weird because you're concerned about, the sexual function of minors." He's like, no. I'm concerned about whether or not we are sterilizing children. You're the one who's saying it's okay to sterilize children. What these young kids do not know are the long-term ramifications they can't possibly know. They don't have the prefrontal cortex to understand. They're kids. And we as adults have failed them. We have allowed this to happen for far too long. And there is not enough education. It is down the pipeline. Boom. Oh, you're feeling this way? Boom, 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 boom. You're done. Next. Oh, you're having problems and maybe regrets? It's not my problem anymore. I've gotten my money. Goodbye. And as someone who cannot possibly have kids, I have my own problems. And I have had a miscarriage. I could only express nothing but my deep sorrow and empathy for that. Because not being able to is hell on earth. And the fact that these women that are detransitioning possibly cannot, there are some that have, but it's devastating news because that's not what they're told. They are sold on a lie. You were you had your, from what you've said, you did the right thing. You went through the steps and you did what you were supposed to do as an older human being and as someone's like, hey, this is what I need to do, but I am well educated on what the possibilities could be if I go down this road. These children are not. They are not. We have let this go on for far too long, and we have failed these children. And whether they agree with us or not, that is the actual truth. Call me a bigot if you want, but if you're truly transsexual, like you are, Storm, or like the lady we were talking to earlier, that what's not the problem. The problem is we're shoehorning these kids because they are uncomfortable in their bodies because of puberty, and we're not giving them proper education about it anymore. I was uncomfortable in my body in puberty. I looked at my mom as a little girl and said, I want to be a boy. And I had valid reasons for wanting to be a boy. And she looked at me, she's like, you can do all the things that guys can do, but you don't need to change your body. Give it a couple years and you'll feel better. I promise you. If not, we'll talk about it then. She handled it like a champ and we moved on down the road. And she was right. I got over my dysphoria because I did have it. And I didn't have a word for it. Now I have a word for it, but I didn't back then. I was 10, 11 years old. How the heck was I supposed to know? I got my cycle at 10 years old in 5th grade. I was the only one in my class that had it. It was weird. And yeah, we need more compassion. We need more help. And we have to work harder at helping detransitioners. Have to work harder at helping detransitioners. They don't have a lot of people. And those who have come out have been blasted and seen the devil incarnate and that they are evil, horrible people who don't deserve any help. It is awful.
Could I just add something to what Mort was said? As somebody, because of my own disabilities, can't have biological children as well, the fact that these kids are essentially getting sterilized, and everyone on the panel who knows me knows that one of the things I absolutely want is to be a parent. I regularly say I'm a parent without a child. Because of my spinal problems, unless I find a foster agency or an adoption agency that will allow me to adopt or foster children, I will forever be a parent without a child. So these detransitioners who are detransitioning and realizing that they want to be parents, they want to be mothers and fathers and what have you, but they will never be able to do that. It is hell. Because in my case, it was my body that betrayed me. In their case, it's their parents that betrayed them. It's the medical professionals that betrayed them. It's the school system that betrayed them. And that which led ultimately to their body betraying them. And it is probably one of the hardest things to reconcile your head with, especially if that is something that you desperately want. So, yeah.
quite emotional, really. I just want to reiterate the fact that a good professional will look at the evidence mentally and physically and the history of the person, and make a good decision, really. You don't need to force anything onto anybody, because when you're children, you have so many different phases you go through. You need the right diagnosis, really, and yeah, it's an emotional thing, and I think people should, doctors especially. I don't know about America. America, it seems to me that it's all about money and how much money they can get off people. In England, I think it's a little bit more, can I say civilized? I don't know. But they think about the possibilities more so. And hopefully people who have a dysphoria or want to transition, or even don't want to transition, they should have the right doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist to help them along their way, really.
I just wanted to add to what Scorpio was saying. You know, it never used to be that way over here in America. It was never basically a money marketing campaign that both the left or the far left and doctors were just able to conspire to create such an issue. This used to be like what you would consider a last resort. When you get to that point,
yeah,
it was they definitely did more of the diagnosing and the counseling before. Now it's a money marketing scheme. That's all it is. It's just a way to make money, and they have no empathy for what they're to an entire generation of people.
No.
I mean, yeah, I agree with basically what everybody says. I mean, how old was she when they removed her breasts? I'm sure I've seen a video where she said she was like 13 or 14 years old.
She was 12.
12. I knew it was really young. 12. I mean, how do you do that to a 12-year-old? Not only do you remove her breasts, you make sure that she can't have children. Like, are we...
But remember, it's...
Yeah, I was like, are we stopping our children from having children? Is this what's happening?
They tell us this is not happening in the numbers that it's happening. Right after Trump won the election, there was a doctor out in frickin' Washington that is trying to go through hundreds of surgeries before the end of the year.
So I've done some research into it, and it's not just America, it's not just the UK. All around the world, there has been known cases of children under the age of 15 who have had medical transitions. The youngest one is a well-known one, which is Jazz Jennings. She started her transition at the age of 4 years old, right? And she was on hormones in high school, and in the same year, she was being looked at for gender reassignment surgery.
That's not right, is it, really?
She's had complications with that surgery because she wasn't allowed to develop properly. There wasn't enough material for her gender reassignment surgery, so she's been having problems.
Yeah, so this whole thing about them saying they're not doing this to kids is a load of lies, because it's happening all around the world. There's documented cases about it all around the world, starting from not only America, the UK, also in Germany, also in Switzerland, also, I mean, the list goes on and on.
My question is why, though? Why are we doing this to children at such a young age? I mean, are you scared that the planet's that populated where we're sterilizing kids? Like, is this your game? Is this the play now? Like, is that the next thing since COVID? Sorry. But, you know, it's crazy. These poor kids, they don't deserve this.
Yes. What I don't understand, it's just like I have tattoos. Here you have to be 17 or 18 just to get an ink marking on your body. So how is it that they're allowing these children to go through all of this? They should have to be adults to start with, and then go through serious counseling, examination, like they're doing a little bit more overseas, simply to explain the good and the bad to it. They're adults, they can make up their mind then what they want to do, as long as they're given all the right information at that point. You know, they're kids, they should be left as kids. They're going to have up and downs as they grow up. But by the time they start maturing, things do change. But at the same time, if something is a constant, it's not going to change. And then if that's what they desire, they can go through that.
That's right.
But explain to them there's good, bad, and risk.
Well, and to jump on what Charming was saying is, okay, kids like to eat crayons. I'm sorry. You're not going to let a 5-year-old drive himself to school. So why, in God's green earth, are we allowing them to make mature decisions about things like this? Kids are immature. They throw fits. They throw tantrums. They don't make rational decisions. They cannot. They don't have all the information. And back when all this started, we didn't know the long-term ramifications because it was experimental. Now we're 10 years into this nonsense. We know the long-term ramifications. We know what's going on. And we could also say, hey, before, Lupron, which is something they give to pedophiles to chemically castrate them, we're chemically castrating children. You can't reverse it. It's not very reversible. As much as they're saying you can reverse it and start your cycle and stuff like that, it's not. You can't pause time. You can accelerate it. And some of these detransitioners are going through menopause in their 20s because they went on the hormones. I cannot understand why we're basically being, and I'm going to say it, and you're going to probably have to bleep it, Nazi scientist experiments. That's what we're doing. I feel like I'm in the Holocaust.
Agree with every word you just said right there. Right there. That's what it is.
Not to mention that on top of the millions and millions of millions. Like, I'm pro-life with caveats, like Ryan. And one lady who was an abortionist said, simply put, I did not realize what I was doing until I read an article that compared me to a Nazi doctor. That's when I took a massive step back. It was a smack in the face. And I realized what the heck I was doing. And it's one of those things, like, these children are living beings. What are we doing? We have become the monsters of the 1930s and 40s again. And us as passerby people have allowed it to happen because we don't want to get involved, we don't want to speak up, and we are afraid of the mob.
So, okay, guys, so I showed you the last video of these transitioners, and what the panel is saying is absolutely correct. I honestly agree with everything that everyone has said on this panel. I haven't really got anything to add. So I'm going to be asking the panel one simple question regarding the ideology. So, as I said in the video, we have got multiple people from different walks of life on this panel. So I'll be asking them a question relating to who they are as people. So I will start with Scottish lesbians. So Scottish lesbians, as a lesbian woman, what are your views on the ideology?
I think at the end of the day, we got everything that we asked. We got our rights. I'm a married woman. And guess what? She's female. Do you know what I mean? We got what we asked for. We don't need special privileges. And I think the LGBT plus should actually just be completely abolished and completely forgotten about. And we all should just be allowed to go on and live our lives. Just plain and simple. Like, just to be left alone. There's no need for it anymore. So can we just stop doing it? Please.
Okay, so Scorpio, I'll ask you the same question. As a gay man, What do you think of the ideology?
It's certainly an eye opener for me. I didn't realise there were so many questions to be asked and how many people are not happy with themselves. Yeah, an emotional time, I suppose, for me. I just hope the people that were in the videos, they look at themselves and they get the respect they deserve, or they get the treatment that they deserve. And yeah, it's quite a bad situation, and yeah.
Okay, so Mortals, as a bisexual woman, what are your thoughts about the ideology?
Modern ideology is poison in regards to how it has evolved or devolved from the original message and what people were fighting for. I think I agree with Scottish lesbians that probably the whole shebang should be abolished and we just be allowed to live our lives in peace. I think we have fought hard, those of us ahead of us who have fought hard and stuff like that. I just want to live with my husband in peace. I am sick and tired of being shouted at and called a bigot for not agreeing with this particular nuance of an opinion. It is ridiculous. As I said, it is childish. It is time for us to live our lives in peace and work on making the world a better place, because we've got our rights. I'm not losing any. We have them. We fought for them. They're here. They're not going anywhere. And if they are, it's not going to happen because the vast majority of us are not going to let it happen.
And Ryan, I ask you the same question as a bisexual woman.
Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Leave kids alone. Remove the transsexuals from the whole ideology, because most transsexuals that I've come across do not agree with that ideology. So it needs to be separate. And I believe that the medical malpractice they need held accountable.
And Charmin, as a straight man, what's your thoughts?
I think people need to learn to be true to themselves, but be true to everyone else too. People need to learn just to be happy with their lives and, adjust their life to be what they want it to be, and people not judge them for it.
And Bobs, as a non-binary person, what do you think of the ideology?
Leave the actual non-binary people alone. Stop using us as the proverbial football in your football game between the TRAs and the gender criticals. And as Mama Ryan said, leave the kids alone.
And I will speak as a transsexual. So as a transsexual, we go lumped into the transgender movement. Many of us don't agree with it. We don't like it, and we are trying to get out of the whole ideological factor of it. I also disagree with the gender critical movement as well, because I do think both sides are toxic, and I do believe in my heart of hearts that they are both cult-like behaviours. I really do agree with Scottish lesbians, and I do think that the LGBT acronym has had its course now. It's done, it's finished, and we do just need to live on with our lives in peace and harmony, which is which was the whole point in the first place, and as everyone agrees on this panel, I do strongly believe that they should leave the children alone to be children, right? And this whole gender craziness that's going on with kids at the moment, it needs to stop. It's not needed. It doesn't have to be needed, and it does need to stop, full stop. So with that being said, I'm going to end the video now. Please comment in the comment section. Your views are important to us. Your opinions are important to us. If you've got anything you want to add to this discussion, then please leave it in the comments section. If you want to tell us your experiences and tell us about, you know, the way you feel about different subjects about this conversation, or the many other videos that we've done, then please go over to our community page where we would read everything that you guys tell us. So I want to thank the panel, and I also want to thank the guests that we've had on this panel for being open with us and telling us their views and their opinions. And we will all see you next week in a brand new topic. And if you do want anything that you want us to talk about, then please let us know, and we will find information, and we would happily talk about any subject that is important to you. So thank you for watching, everyone. So I'll leave it up to panel to say their goodbyes.
Bye.
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 Bye.